When you go to Starbucks and order coffee, do you expect to drink coffee? When you go to Walmart or Target and pay for your groceries, do you expect to take them home? I mean, that's just common sense, right? You pay for it, you get it. Now just imagine paying for an Uber and then just watching it drive away. It doesn't make much sense, does it? So why is the new European C-19 vaccine contract so much like this situation? You are not going to believe what they want governments and, let's face it guys, taxpayers to pay for when it comes to these miracle drugs. We're also going to shed light on just how great of a deal the EU got when it comes to the procurement of these jabs. Let's just say that the taxpayers are going to have a lot of doses to pay for. Now, just to be clear, this isn't about getting jabbed or not getting jabbed. It's about the deal of sending vaccines to the EU. Now, before I continue, guys, please take a second, smash the like button for the video. Really appreciate all the clicks, all the loves. I really appreciate that, guys. Put a lot of time into research and the production of these videos to share this information with you guys. And if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to the global happenings, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, the state of our economy, the housing market, the stock market, bank runs, and everything that's going on in Washington, D.C. that affects our lives, our families, and our bank accounts, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And for the best way to invest in gold, protect your family, there's a link in the description down below of this video. Well, guys, we all make bad choices in life, right? We're not perfect. I'm not. And it's primarily much more prominent with our purchases. Now, some regret buying a huge house when their household takes up just a fraction of the space. There are those who regret buying a sedan when they really needed an SUV or more of a bigger family car. And then, of course, there's the issue of the C-19 vaccine contracts where governments may be paying for doses that will not be produced. So how does this even happen, right? Well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So the pandemic is more of an afterthought nowadays, especially with many governments across the world implementing very loose regulations when it comes to the virus. Like, have you seen how much more we can go out now compared to a few years ago? It's almost like all of this pandemic related stuff is, oh, it's no longer in style. You know, we're not going to talk about that anymore. Regulations are gone. And personally, I'm cool with that, but it certainly makes you wonder. And stores don't necessarily stop you in your tracks now and ask you to show them some passport to prove that you were jabbed. Thank God for that. Glad that crap's over. But this has led to demand for the vaccine to drop by insane numbers as people just don't see the merit of getting one, especially when it no longer holds a purpose. Not to mention a lot of the truth on that whole thing is out. But the main purpose for others was just to simply be safe from layoffs or to be able to go out and buy their groceries. I mean, heck, a lot of jobs are just saying, hey, if you don't get a job, you can't keep working here. That was pretty messed up. Now, with demand as low as it is, Pfizer, a US pharmaceutical company, has now reached out to the European Union or the EU about their contract and have agreed that, hey, not many people want this stuff. That's fine. We can give you less doses, but you're still on the hook for the orders that we will never make. What? So get this, they're going to cut their production by 40%. Understandable, right? Because who's buying these drugs nowadays, right? But again, the demand for vaccines has dropped dramatically, but yet they agreed to extend their contract from 2023 to 2026 with the stipulation that doses ordered in the contract be paid for. Doses that again and again, I have to point this out because it's crazy that they're not making. So what does the deal entail anyway, right? Now, according to an article from the New York Times back in 2021, a deal was cut to provide the European Union with 1.8 billion doses from Pfizer, or about double what the entire EU population would actually need. And so what makes this story even crazier is that Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the EU, she got this awful deal through texts and calls. Texts with Pfizer's Alberta Bourla, the CEO, that have now gone missing. Did they try tapping the magnifying glass button in her text messages and type in vaccines? I guess not, because according to the EU Justice Commissioner, quote, the Commission can confirm that the search undertaken by the President's cabinet for relevant text messages corresponding to the request for access to documents has not yielded any results, end quote. This has now led to the New York Times taking the European Commission to court as they failed to release these text messages. The EU's Values and Transparency Commissioner has claimed that the text messages have been deleted. So here's a question for you guys. Do you delete important text messages? I mean, heck, I don't even delete any text messages, to be honest with you. I mean, you would think that a deal that paid out billions of dollars to a pharma company like Pfizer is probably something that's worth saving on your phone, right? I transfer money online and still take note of the messages that confirm it. And these transfers don't cost taxpayers billions of dollars. But yet the deal was set in motion. And if we go back to 2021, this was considered a triumph. No, seriously, it was literally called like a really, really big break for the EU to get such a good deal from Pfizer, a deal that basically forced 27 nation states to agree to. Now, I find it very hard to imagine how taxpayers are going to be feeling about this. Like, go ahead, spend taxpayer money on these magic drugs that, hey, are indeed magic because they don't don't exist. Now wait a minute, is this why they've been calling it the magic drug for so long? Now the problem for the EU is that they may not need all these extra doses. Now according to the Financial Times, quote, as the severity of the pandemic has waned, it has left the EU committed to paying for unneeded vaccines. About 82% of adults in the bloc have received at least 2 jabs, and more than 1.7 billion doses have already been delivered. Contracts were included with 8 vaccine developers, providing as many as 4.2 billion doses, end quote. Now, some member states of the EU were not very happy with how this all went down, and 4 of them, namely Poland, Bulgaria, Lithuania, and Hungary, have said this, quote, in our opinion, these proposals do not present a final and fair solution to the problems of the C-19 vaccine surplus and do not meet the needs of the healthcare systems, the needs of citizens, and the financial interests of the member states, end quote. Poland's health minister even said that the deal favored pharmaceutical companies and not the citizens of the EU. He's also called out the confidential contract to be published. Do you guys think that the contracts that use taxpayer money should be made transparent to the public? I think that the answer to this is pretty freaking obvious. The modification to their initial deal that's set to lower the doses received, but not the price tag, will need a deal in place. And if some states disagree, they will remain locked into the original contract terms. Wow. And this is according to Pfizer, quote, we are committed to finding pragmatic solutions to address public health and the evolving pandemic needs, while ensuring Pfizer and BioNTech continue to meet all of their contractual obligations regarding the delivery of C-19 vaccines to the EU, end quote. It really looks like Pfizer's trying to remain relevant here. Now, at the end of the day, you gotta wonder, will anyone or any group of people be held accountable for anything? I mean, especially when it comes to the health crisis. Will those who defrauded federal funds ever be found? Will any of the people who lied under oath be charged for perjury? Are we just gonna be taken advantage of by people who never really face the light of justice? I don't know, guys. You can tell me in the comment section down below, because I may not show it, but I'm a little frustrated with all these matters. And frustrating really doesn't even begin to describe how I feel like whenever I go out to buy groceries, for example. It's like inflation has gotten to a point of no return, and even though we've been sold this narrative that it's going down, the price of goods simply don't show it. How much are you paying for your food nowadays? Not fast food or restaurants, because those are way more expensive. I'm talking about the food that you buy in Costco, Walmart, Target, all these places. Now I'm betting that you've probably already cut back on some stuff that you used to enjoy a couple years ago. And this is exactly why I'm helping more people to improve their cash flow and kind of get their lives back together, basically. Financial freedom is possible still in this day and age, but you gotta be willing to learn, and you gotta be willing to put a little bit of time in. Now there's plenty of opportunities out there that can be opened up by investing in the stock market, maybe even real estate. Heck, now there are plenty of opportunities out there that can be opened up by investments in the stock market, real estate, investing in gold. And of course, for the best way to invest in gold, there is a link in the description down below. But it can also be realized through multiple streams of income and revenue by creating small businesses, side hustles. But the main important ingredient here is you. You have to be willing to make sacrifices and want a change bad enough that it pushes you to check my contact details in the description down below. No, it's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it. Now, before I go, guys, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up for the video. Totally appreciate that. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you guys on the next video.